Okay, good morning and welcome to Yeshiva YouTube. Iyun, and I want to talk today about Shabbos Perek Tedzai Mishnah. Hey, what happens if you have a small fire? In the previous part of the program, we've been talking about of this parak. We've been talking about if you have a big fire that's ravaging your entire house, you can't save the house. So what can you save? Food, clothing. Here we're talking about a small fire in your house. A fire that's on your night table or your dresser or your closet made out of wood. You want to extinguish it so it doesn't ravage your entire house. So the Mishnah says you can put a piece of leather on it, right? Presumably even where the fire is directly, right? In order that it should extinguish the fire. Or what you could do is um, make a wall full of kalim, whether malayim or ikonim, whether they have water or not. Rabbi Yossi says you can only use kli cheres filled with water. Because kli cheres, when the fire hits the kli cheres, the earthenware vessels, it breaks. They break. They can't withstand the fire, and then the water falls on the fire and extinguishes it. So according to Rabbi Yossi, he holds gram kiboy is aser. Now this is gram kiboy. It is. You're not directly doing it. You're putting kalim over there. What's the difference between Tanakama and Rabbi Yossi? You don't pass on Rabbi Yossi. Rabbi Yossi is machmir. Tanakama. What does the Tanakama allow? Does Tanakama only allow to put kalim there, and then the fire is going to hit and it's going to spill the water on it? It's the same thing as Rabbi Yossi. It must be the Tanakama is telling you. The Tanakama is saying you can make a mechitza filled with water or not water. Maybe malayim or reikonim. What is reikonim going to do? How are pots going to stop the fire? So malayim means, right, you can choose to do like Rabbi Yossi, keep the kalim there, and the fire will extinguish itself. Or reikonim, you can empty out the water. You can take a bowl of water, a bucket of water, and pour it on the fire. The same thing as the beginning of the Mishnah. You can take a hide of a goat and put it on the fire and extinguish the fire directly. Now, because they hold gram kiboy is mutter on Shabbos. Now, it's called gram kiboy. It's not called kiboy because the difference is gram kiboy and kiboy. People think gram kiboy is grama. No, Rabbi Yossi was saying grama is okay. Gram is asar according to Rabbi Yossi. Grama is okay. Grama is I didn't do it by myself. The fire went into the earthenware kalim, which I put on the side, and then they broke and extinguished the fire. That grama, it was a lack of maisa. I didn't do it by myself. It happened by itself, right? I contributed it to it, but it really happened by itself, so to speak. So it wasn't my fault. It wasn't my action. Well, gram, according to the Chama, is okay, right? So the difference is that kiboy, which is also in the Torah, which is in the Mishnah in Perek Zayin, in the Mishnah in Perek, you can't extinguish a fire. I mentioned that in previous shiurim. You can't call a fire truck to come, firefighters to come and put your fire, because that's a massive thing. That's a business-like activity. Firefighters get paid for their jobs. That's a massive kiboy. However, when you have a small fire in your house, you don't want it to spread in your house, you can pour buckets of water on that. That's not called kiboy. That's not called extinguishing a fire. Extinguishing a fire is calling the fire department. Gram kiboy is like, spot cleaning on your clothes. I believe spot cleaning on your clothes is okay on Shabbos. Right, you're not allowed to put it in a washing machine. I mean, that's something that they have laundromats. It's a business-like activity. They don't have businesses where they spot clean. You don't give it to the dry cleaners and they take their saliva and spot clean it, or they put a little dishwashing soap on the small pasta stain and clean it, tomato sauce stain, and clean it. They don't do that. That's not a professional thing. Spot cleaning is okay. That's not called kibus, and also, and it's not called gram kiboy. Also, when you're causing kiboy, it just means that you're doing a personal job. That's all it means. Your gram kiboy means you're causing a kiboy. It can't be called kiboy because you're not a professional. You don't know how to extinguish a fire. You're trying to cause the extinguishing of a fire. That's why it's called gram kiboy. Gram is direct. You're doing an action over here in the Mishnah. You can pour water on it. It might not go out. You're not an expert, right? When you're in school, they teach you when you're a fire, stop, drop, and roll, but they don't teach you how to extinguish a fire. No one really knows how to extinguish a fire. It's not so hard to figure out. You have to step on it if it's a small fire, or pour water on it. It's not, but it's called gram kiboy. You're trying. It's not called directly kiboy because you're not a professional. It's called gram kiboy because you're trying to get rid of the fire, and therefore it's mutter. So if you have a small fire that breaks down your house, don't say, "Oh, kiboy is us, right? Let my whole house burn down." Don't be stupid, because not only are you letting your whole house burn down, you might not have home insurance, you might go in debt, big debts, but it could spread to someone else's house. It cause people's lives to be, people could die from this. If people are sleeping in the house, or in a different house, it's a sakanas nefashos also. So people are so machmir on this. Don't be so mahmir. You're allowed to personally extinguish a fire. I believe on Shabbos. Again, I'm not the accepted posek, so ask your local rabbi. But if he tells you you can't do it, tell him, "What are you kidding me? People are gonna die. You're gonna lose your house." Reevaluate the Mishnah. Listen to Ben Zion Lang's shir, Iyun Mitzion, and figure it out. Maybe I made the wrong shot in the Gemara. Maybe all the poskim have the wrong shot. Really, the halacha is like Ben Zion Lang. See you in the next one.